I caught my parents smiling while stealing from me. And that's when I knew the surgery story was a lie. For 3 years straight, I paid their $3,500 monthly bills without missing a single payment. And the whole time, they were planning to take the $25,000 wedding fund I saved dollar by dollar. Before I continue, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you never miss stories like this. I still remember the night everything cracked. Mom called me crying, saying she needed emergency surgery, her voice shaking like she was on her deathbed. I dropped everything. I left work early. I even transferred money before she finished explaining because I trusted her. Because I'm Hazel, the responsible daughter, the one they always leaned on, the one they never once appreciated. But the next day, something felt off. My mom wasn't at the hospital she claimed she'd be in. My dad's phone location, yes. I checked, showed him at a resort, not a clinic. My stomach twisted. Was I losing my mind? Or were they playing me? The answer came when I drove to their house unannounced. Through the half-open window, I heard laughter. Real laughter. My parents and my sister Jessica joking about how Hazel will never know, how she's too soft, how the wedding money is basically ours. I froze. My heart didn't break. It burned. They weren't just lying. They were celebrating it. My dad said, "She thinks we need surgery." Perfect. After all, she already pays everything else for us. Jessica laughed. She paid for this, too. I stepped back from the window, shaking, the truth slamming into me harder than anything before. They didn't see me as family. They saw me as a wallet, but they had no idea. I had already uncovered what they planned to do next. And it was worse than anything I imagined, and that's when my plan started forming. A plan they would never see coming. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the wall, replaying every moment I ever helped them. Every time they called me good, every time they said they were proud. All lies, all tricks. And the worst part? They thought I'd keep paying forever. The next morning, my dad texted me like nothing happened. "Hazel, sweetheart, we need $2,000 more. Doctor said complications." Complications? Yeah, complications in their bank account. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened the document I'd been hiding for months. The one thing they never knew existed. The one thing that could change everything. While they treated me like their full time. ATM, I was quietly building something behind the scenes. Late nights, early mornings, no sleep, no help. A small business that had finally exploded into real success. I never told them because I wanted to stand on my own first, but now it was time to use it. And just when I thought their betrayal had peaked, Jessica pushed it even further. She called, sounding annoyed, not concerned. "Hazel, Mom said you're acting weird. Don't ruin the wedding plans. We already booked things." Using that $25,000, I felt my jaw lock. Booked things? With my money. Money they planned to steal? "Jessica," I asked slowly, "what did you book?" She sighed like I was the problem. "Oh, chill, Hazel. The venue, the dress, the catering. Relax. You'll pay it off anyway. You always do." That sentence hit me like a slap. You'll pay
it off anyway. That's all I was to them. Not a daughter, not a sister, just a refillable
bank account. My silence must have bothered her because she added, "Look, Hazel, you want this family to be happy, right? Just don't make it complicated." Complicated? I almost laughed, because while they were calling me weak, while they thought I'd obey, while they believed I'd fund their whole world forever, I was preparing the exact moment their entire plan would collapse, and that moment was closer than they realized. They didn't know what I was about to do at the family meeting they scheduled for tonight. A meeting where they thought they'd force me to pay even more. They had nitrogen monoxide idea what I was walking in there with. I walked into my parents' living room that evening, and the way they were all sitting there, arms crossed, faces stiff, told me everything. They weren't here to talk. They were here to demand. My dad didn't even say hello. "Hazel, sit. We need to discuss the surgery funds and the wedding expenses." Jessica added, "Yeah, Hazel, and please don't make a scene. We already told the venue you're paying." They're expecting the first deposit tonight. I didn't sit. I kept my coat on. I kept my bag on my shoulder. I kept my eyes calm, too calm, because rage wasn't useful anymore. Mom leaned forward. Sweetheart, we're family. You should help. You earn more than all of us combined. That sentence, that smug tone, that confidence in their lie. How do you know how much I earn? I asked quietly. My dad waved his hand. Oh, please, Hazel, you're not fooling anyone. You're just a mid-level office girl. You're lucky to be able to pay our bills. A slow breath escaped me. Not from pain, but from confirmation. They truly had no idea who I had become. Mom reached out her hand. So just transfer the $25,000 again. We overshot the budget. And after the surgery, we'll pay you back. I tilted my head. What surgery, Mom? The one at the resort? The room froze. Jessica's mouth dropped. My dad blinked. Mom single quotes. S face went pale like a switch flipped. What? She stuttered. You heard me, I said, stepping forward. I know everything. The resort. The lie. The money. The wedding bookings you made under my name. And the fact that you plan to take the rest of the fun tonight. My dad slammed his hand on the table. You were spying on us. No, I said. You were robbing me. Jessica stood up, annoyed instead of guilty. God, Hazel, why are you making this dramatic? It's just money. You'll make it back. I smiled, not a happy smile, a smile that comes right before an explosion. Actually, I said softly, that's the part none of you understand. I already made it back, and more. My mom squinted. What are you talking about? I slowly unzipped my bag, pulled out a thin folder, and placed it on the table. Their eyes locked on it instantly. Inside that folder was something they never expected, something that would flip their world upside down, something that would show them exactly who they underestimated. But before they could open it, Jessica asked, Hazel, what is this? I leaned forward. It's the reason you'll regret every single lie you ever told me. And when my dad opened the folder, his face drained completely. The real shock hadn't even begun. My dad's hands trembled as he pulled out the papers page after page of documents he didn't understand at first. But when the numbers registered, his jaw locked, his breathing changed. His eyes shot up at me like he was seeing a ghost. Mom leaned over his shoulder. One glance. 1 second. And she gasped. So loud it echoed. Jessica snatched a page. What is this, some fake business thing? But when her eyes hit the revenue line, she froze mid-blink. $482,000. Verified. Filed. All. Under my company name. She looked at me like I had just rewritten reality. I finally sat down. Calm. Steady. Ready. I didn't tell you because I wanted peace, I said. I didn't want you to see me as money, but you did anyway. My dad swallowed hard. Hazel, what is this? How long have you been building it? I finished. 3 years. While paying your bills. While working double shifts. While you mocked me. While you lied. While you planned to take more. Jessica stepped back like the floor was breaking. Wait, are you saying you're rich? No, I said, letting every word slice exactly where I wanted it to. I'm saying you stole from the wrong person. Mom tried a shaky smile. Sweetheart, we didn't steal. We were just using me? I said, lying to me? Calling me soft, weak, predictable? Planning to drain everything before the wedding? Nobody spoke. The silence was thick and ugly. Then I dropped the real bomb. That folder, I said, isn't just proof of my business. It's also documents showing every payment I've ever covered for you. Every bill, every loan, every transfer, every lie. And the lawyer I hired last week, he has copies. Jessica's voice cracked. Lawyer? Why would you get a lawyer? Because, I said, leaning forward, I knew you'd try to take more. And I'm done sacrificing my life to people who don't even see me as family. My dad's voice suddenly softened. Too late. Hazel, we didn't mean any harm. We just assumed you'd help. You've always helped. That's the problem, I replied. You never asked. You demanded, then lied, then laughed about it. Mom reached for my hand. I pulled back. Jessica exhaled sharply, trying to regain control. Okay, fine. You have money now. Great, but you still owe us. We raised you. I stared at her. You didn't raise me, I said. You drained me. And now, I'm done. I stood up, and before walking out, I placed one last paper on the table, a printed message from the wedding venue confirming cancellation of every booking under my name. Jessica lunged for it. No, Hazel, you can't do that, my wedding. I turned around slowly. You should have thought about your wedding, I said, before stealing mine. They all spoke at once, pleading, yelling, bargaining, but I was already walking toward the door. I didn't look back until my dad shouted the one line that twisted everything even darker. You'll regret this, Hazel. You need us. You're nothing without us. I stopped. I turned my head just enough for them to see my smile. Actually, I said, you're nothing without me. I left the house, closed the door behind me, and didn't know that before the night ended my family would do something even more desperate, something that would cross a line they could never come back from. I woke up the next morning to 32 missed calls, a dozen voicemails, and one message that made my stomach twist, not from fear, but from disbelief. Jessica had texted, Hazel, congratulations. You just ruined our lives. Hope you're happy. I ignored it. I ignored everything. Until a very unexpected call came in from the bank. The manager's tone was stiff. Miss Hazel, we need to confirm a few attempts made on your account last night. Attempts? My pulse tightened. He continued, someone tried to access your savings, then your business account, multiple times. Password resets. Failed security questions. I closed my eyes. My family didn't just betray me. They tried to break into my accounts. Do you know who attempted this? The manager asked. Yes, I said calmly. I do. I spent the next hours locking everything down, new passwords, two-factor security, freezing authorizations. I was done being the girl they could manipulate. That Hazel was gone. Around evening, my parents finally showed up at my apartment building. They were waiting near the entrance, pacing, desperate. When they saw me walk up, they rushed over like victims instead of the people who had caused all of this. My mom grabbed my arm. Hazel, please, we only tried to access your account because we were scared. You cut us off. What were we supposed to do? Not commit fraud, I said coldly. My dad stepped forward. You think you're better than us now? Because you have money? Because you have a business? You owe everything you have to this family.
No.
I said, voice steady. Everything I have, I earned while you used me. Jessica looked wrecked, hair messy, makeup smeared, holding a binder full of wedding plans she could no longer pay for. Hazel, she whispered, voice cracking, I need that wedding, please. Just give me the money. You can afford it. I can't start my life like this. I stared at her. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't apologizing. She just wanted more. You don't get to destroy me. I said, then ask me to save you. Jessica's fist hid. So you're really choosing yourself over us? For the first time in my life, I replied. Yes. My dad scoffed. Then you're dead to us. I nodded slowly. Then let me be dead. I walked past them, up the stairs, and into my apartment without looking back. The door clicked shut behind me like a final chapter closing. Inside, I finally exhaled, long, deep, free for years. I carried them, paid for them. Sacrificed for them, begged for a love they weaponized, prayed for respect they never gave, and they weren't worth any of it. For the first time ever, the silence in my home didn't feel lonely. It felt peaceful. Safe. Mine. I made myself a cup of coffee, sat by the window, and watched the sun fall behind the buildings. I didn't feel guilt. I didn't feel fear. I didn't feel sadness. I felt freedom. They took advantage of me for years, but now they can't take a single dollar, minute, or tear from me ever again. And as the city lights blinked on, I whispered to myself, Hazel, you finally chose you.